to Pan Strong Podcast, where we interview the world's strongest women, amateur to pros from across the world. And today we have the most amazing Megan Bain. I knew a girl when I was a kid. Her name is Bain, but she's really annoying. She's a hairdresser. You're not her though. Yeah, I feel like you're repping the name properly. You're bringing some hope back to the Bain clan association. There's a word for it. I don't know. Where is Bain? What is Bain? Where is that from? What is the background on Bain?
Technically, Bain itself is French, but we're not French.
Bain.
We're Irish and English, but I'm pretty sure it came from McBain. It was McBain, and then it was shortened down to Bain when they came over to Canada.
Now that you're becoming famous, you could sell a burger that's called the McBain. You know?
Yo, that is a good idea. I do love a good burger.
I'm expecting 3 burgers for life once you do that.
I'm gonna have to think up a good recipe for that. Probably have mostly pickles on it.
You need to make a McBain burger, post on IG and tag us in it, and that'll be the official McBain fitness burger. Boom.
Okay. Deal.
Boom. I'm in. You sell that shit on Facebook Marketplace and make that holiday job.
Who wants a McBain for Christmas?
McBain. It's gonna make you insane in the membrane. It's gonna make you strong.
Oh my god.
I just made a commercial for you. There you go.
Perfect. I got to do this every week. Keep my business going.
Yes, put some tomatoes on it, and some lettuce and some onions and bacon, and then you're good to go. Shut up, A&W. I thought of it myself, all by myself. So, I am your host. My name is Thick Stephanie. That's because I'm thick with 3 or 4 C's. I'm thick with another layer of thick, and you can blame it on my children because every time I have one, I get another layer of thickness, of greatness, bitch. I'm nice and toasty. Every winter I get warmer. Okay? You can find me a fantastic dancer on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, where you can also find my dance and fitness challenges and tutorials and amazeball times. My dance and fitness classes this fall online, Zoom, live. You get to hang out with me and twerk that shit. And maybe you can turn into business and make some money. I don't know. I don't make guarantees. There's no guarantees on your receipt. So subscribe to my channel. Contact me through those DMs, comment on my posts, and holler at your girls. Anyways, so today, this episode, we will be discussing how to stay fit in the winter. And like I said, today's guest is Megan Bain. She's the owner of Grit and Something Wellness. I feel like you need to say it. Grit. Maybe you can grit on that exciting burger.
Yeah, I'm going to change it now. It's actually the McBain burger. No, it's Grace and Grit Wellness.
Because you give grace for people to fail like a CrossFitter and drop the barbell, but you teach them how to have grit and to do it again. Essentially,
yes. It's got to have a balance of both in life, I guess. Sometimes more grit than grace, sometimes more grace than grit.
Is that how you came up with your name? You're like, I want to teach women how to be graceful, like hold teacups and walk all pretty in a 1950s skirt, but I also want to show them how to punch dudes in the face and lift some heavy shit,
I wish it was that complex. It's a little more simplistic than that, unfortunately. A lot of people always tell, I would often hear, you're made of grit. You have so much grit. You have a grit that I've never seen before. It was just something that I was always told, even just growing up, but obviously more frequently once getting into strength sports. And once I started dealing with clients more, I found it was something that I was saying was you need to have grace with yourself. You need to show yourself some grace. And my dog's name is Gracie, and she's the most kind, sweet-hearted, best creature on the planet. So it kind of just came together that way.
I really appreciate that you use the word grace because I feel like a lot of people don't give enough grace to themselves. And so I want to talk about that today and just being realistic in life with your goals and the time it takes to achieve goals and that you're an imperfect human, you know what I mean? Because I feel like we're so hard on ourselves. And the only reason why I know the word grace is because, I didn't learn that as a kid because I grew up pretty religious, but in my early 20s, I started having people come into my life and show me grace. And that was a life changer because I was always a perfectionist and I would self-sabotage all the time, right? And take down my life because I had these ridiculously impossible images and visions of what I wanted for my life and how fast I was going to get there. And grace is so important just to forgive yourself, and it's a form of self-love, right? And self-respect. But it's something that we were raised in our generation, like you and I think we're pretty close in age, is that that's a weak thing, right? So anyways, like I think the word grace is very, very powerful. And I think that people would actually achieve a lot more in life and actually start things and do more things if they actually gave themselves grace. You know what I mean? Because anybody can write like a collage board, a vision board, write down goals, buy some books, you know, sign up for a program, whatever it is, you know, go to a gym. But at the end of the day, if you don't have grace programmed into your programming for your life and your schedule, then you're not being realistic, right? Even with this podcast, I had to learn that, like as a mom, you know, that too, right? You're just so tough on yourself, especially if you're a mom who works outside the home or in home. You're just trying to be this goddamn superhero all the time, right? And there's only one of you, you know, and you're gonna have bad days, right? Like that's just life.
Yep. Exactly it.
But you need the grace and the grit to get through. That's right. Grace and grit wellness coming to you.
Yes, exactly.
I'm far too excited for this time of night. It's because you're on the show. I'm so excited. So, anyways, you can find Megan Bain, who's insane in the membrane. No, she's not. She's the calm one. If we were two buddies in trouble, like if we were two cops, you'd be the good cop and I'd be the bad cop. Like, you want some of this? You want some of this? You're gonna tell me where she is. and you
might be right until I snap, and then I probably would no longer be the good cop.
Relax, we'll get donuts later. Chill, bro.
Someone feed me.
Yeah, she's like a ticking time bomb. I'm like, you're far too calm. There's something festering there. It's just a matter of time. It's like that Jim Carrey movie where he was a cop and people always like taking advantage of him. He's like, you know, and then one day he's like, you know, and then he lost his shit.
What one is that?
I don't know.
Damn, but I love Jim Carrey too.
Oh, he's a shit. I don't know. He's like a super trooper. I think it's the one that came out after, not the Trump. When he was in that mysterious fake world with the circle globe thingy. Oh man, I'm bad with names. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna post it on here.
Okay. yeah, and let me know, and then we'll share it. I'm like, oh yeah, everybody watch this movie.
Have grace and grit, otherwise you'll end up like this guy. You don't want to be this guy. You know, like the Hulk freaking out. You know what? I really want to be the Hulk for Halloween because I feel like it's gonna be therapeutic just to walk around and be angry for like a day, and then be like, hey, I'm tired now. I'm gonna not be angry anymore.
And then you don't have to be Hulk anymore. You can just be Bruce Banner.
Oh yes, that's what therapists should do. They should just be like, bro, I feel like you need to play this avatar today, because life is just being an avatar essentially, right? And just be like, go buy this costume, go do that, then go home, have a bath, you'll be good. Just go be fucking Mickey Mouse.
Just don't cause harm to anyone, and you know, don't break any laws. Punch a couple trees.
Yeah, cops get all these weird calls in the city because this new therapist moved in town who's assigning characters to people, and like 911 is like, again? What do you mean Santa Claus is walking down the street in March? You know what I mean? It'd be chaos in the city. Chaos.
We need an annual purge day, but that's another conversation.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, it's getting fun here. So anyways, where can they find you on Facebook? What's your website? Where can they locate?
So I don't have a website, mainly because social media is literally so much to handle as it is. Like,
yes.
So it would be grace.gritwellness is my Instagram handle. And then there's also my personal Instagram handle, which is Meg Randy Bain. And then I don't have a business page on Facebook just because most people just come through my Instagram or personally message me for the most part.
It's true though. Like,
and that's the only capacity I have right now. I can't run a website and do anything else. Like, too much.
It is. It's a lot of work, and like websites just take longer. Like on my phone, I can like done. On my my website, I have to open my laptop and like enter passwords, and it's just like very cumbersome and annoying. I find it takes so much more time to do the most simplest thing. And it's like, yeah, websites are there as a landing page, but I feel like they're just such a money grab. Like in this day and age, like why? Like to me, your legitimacy, your credibility is like your results. You know. If you like testimonials and stuff like that, like what would you need to have? There's so many old school business people, like you just need to have like a business somewhere. So I'm like, yeah, but like, are they ordering cupcakes through your website? Like, why do you have a website? Like, is it a functioning you book classes? Otherwise, you don't need it. But anyways, yeah. So anywho, Megan Bain. Let's talk about how fabulous she is. You guys better hold on to your seats. So she's second place lightweight in Alberta. Okay, 2 years in a row, strongman. Third place at Casa Nationals 2021 or 20.
20. So nationals this year was actually
Right,
just
stupid
this weekend.
question. You guys, do you understand? I do a podcast so late at night, and I'm just running on caffeine at this point. And it's the fourth time I've had caffeine today, so don't you judge me, okay? I don't got my glasses on. I can't read in this lighting, all right?
No, no judgment.
No judgment, goddammit. So former postpartum powerlifter started in 2015 after having her son, Hunter. Because, you know, she had to have an epic name for her son as well. She's an international level Raw Powerlifting Federation judge. Don't you judge me. Oh, she's going to judge you.
Only if you squat high. I only judge high squats. So everything else is fine.
So bad. They're like, can you go long? I'm like, my legs are super long, okay? This is unfair. I'm height challenged.
That's fixable. You can figure that out. We can figure that out for you.
Okay, you help me. I need you in my life.
Okay.
So she was a second place world champion, 100% raw, in the women's 60 kg in 2010. Wait, yes, 2016, 2018. I'm
like, wait, 2010. I wrote that wrong down.
No, it's because my kid always steals my pens, and I wrote it with a fucking marker, and it's like I'm messy writing. Okay, I know it's out of school. Okay, I don't get stars anymore. I don't need to. Okay, I don't get no awards and shit. No participation awards. So anyways, that's a long fucking time ago. I was young and skinny back then. It's so beautiful. Anyways, yeah. So and then she herniated herself. Well, L5, the L5. So she took a little break, little nappy nap, and now she's a wellness coach. She specializes in working with women with eating disorders or disordered eating habits, and she's currently training for nationals. And her beautiful, amazing son is her motivation. Aww. I feel like insert like animated eyes, like big googly eyes right here. So
I don't have those.
She's like, stop making fun of my eyes, Stephanie, you asshole.
Yeah, why do you gotta keep talking about big eyes?
You know what? True story. I used to put on excessive amounts of eyes, eyeliner and shadow, because I was horrible makeup when I was a teenager, and I was totally Mimi with the blue eyeshadow and shit. And I was trying to be like Christina Aguilera. And I just look stupid because I have so much fucking eyeliner on, you know? It used to like drip when I swam.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, and then my brother and sister are Chinese, like half Chinese. They're the same dad, our mom. And then people would be like, Stephanie, I can see the Chinese and you look Chinese. I'm like, listen, fuck face. I didn't say I was Chinese, you stupid asshole. So anyways, I'm like, what do you mean? You trying to say my eyes are shaped fucking Asian? What are you saying? Anyways. Guys, I
got made fun of all the time too because my eyes are so squinty. But
what
are you gonna do?
I told her she looked like Renee Zellweger, whatever the hell her name is.
Zellweger? Renee Zellweger? That's honestly a first. That is a first for me.
No, I feel like you look like her if she worked out and like, you know, like if I could punch people. Like you look like her older sister, but you act like her older brother. Because she's always like injecting shit in her face, and you'd probably be like, "Stop putting stuff in your face." Now, remember the men when they said she looked Asian because her eyes literally got that small because she was so
Oh
Asian?
yeah. So mine are just naturally that way. Lucky me. I don't have to get a facelift for this.
That's okay. We all have our things. Like apparently this runs in my family, the little second chin right here.
Oh yeah.
And then I got so freakish skinny trying to get rid of it in my 20s. So then my chin just got like super pointy and skinny, and I still had bloop. So anyways, we all have our things, you know. I don't care.
Oh yeah.
I love it when you lie down. You're like, ooh.
When you open up your camera when you're laying in bed, and you're like,
yeah.
Oh God.
Turn it around.
Like, who else saw that?
Shut it down. Anyway, we're here on a mission today. We really are. So this is what happens when moms get together. Okay, when our kids get to bed. This is the shit that happens, especially when alcohol's involved. Don't judge me. I may or may not be 13.
I've never, no judging. No judging. No judging ever. Oh, the listeners aren't going to judge me either.
Oh, that's because dogs are the shit. I love dogs. So tell us about your journey to strongman, where it all started in powerlifting, you know, starting from having your son. Like, obviously, you've accomplished a lot since then, right? He's still a young lad. So,
yeah, he was born in 2014, in April of 2014. And I was, I guess, like I would say athletic before, like in high school, I played rugby and baseball and basketball and all the sports, but I was always like chubby. Like I was always the chubby tomboy kid, like forever. Like my family members would literally berate me. Like my aunts and uncles would be like, "Don't eat that, you're gonna get fat," and I'd be like, "Okay, thanks." So definitely that was awesome growing up as a woman, being called fat all the time by your family members. But I still like went to the gym and was fairly active until I had Hunter, but it wasn't until after I had him that I kind of like realized, okay, like I have to take my health seriously. It's not just like going to the gym. It's also eating well, and not just like, you know, eating well for a little bit of time. And by eating well, I mean starving myself, eating lettuce and like meat, and then binging and not getting anywhere with it. I also was diagnosed with celiac disease and like realized all these things, and I was like, hey, I got to change something. I got a baby now. Like, I got to be healthy. I don't want to feel like crap. And then I just started basically going to the gym about when he was 10 weeks old, I guess. I had a C-section, so it was about 10 weeks when I went back into the gym, just slowly went back in, started by my, you know, lots of walking, like eating well. I hired a coach at that point to kind of guide me, because it was still new to me, not so much the exercise aspect, but how I should be eating. Like most women, I wasn't used to eating a lot of food consistently. So that was kind of the first thing that I learned, was that like I need to feed my body nutritious, nutrient-dense foods consistently. And then I guess what? I won't binge all the time because I'm not starving. What do you know? Like, wow, surprise. And I don't know, I fell in love with it. I lost all my baby weight and then some, like quite quickly, like within 4 months. And then a coach that was at the gym I was going to came up to me and was like, you know, we've noticed your transformation and you're like really dedicated. Have you ever thought of like powerlifting? I remember him also like making like a weird joke, like, you got giant quads. Have you ever thought of powerlifting? And I was like, oh God. Anyway, like, of course, that's how some dude would approach you.
Quads, bro. You should pick up a shit, bro.
Yeah. Like after you've lost a bunch of baby weight and you're feeling like, oh, you got big quads. Have you ever tried powerlifting? Like, I'd heard of it, obviously. It was just kind of getting popular at that time. It was the end of 2014. And I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. And there was a comp in March. And I think this was like literally December. And so I just went into like 12 weeks of training and did my first competition of March of 2015. And just fell in love with the federation. It was 100% raw powerlifting that I was involved with right off the bat. You know, I fell in love with the whole community and the people that ran the federation. I made really close friendships with them. One person specifically, his name is Adam. He's basically took me under his wing, and that's kind of how I went about going to also be involved on the board of the federation as well. I was volunteering and offering to help run meets and just like really putting myself out there right away, you know, wanting to be, you know, work out with other people who were competing in the whatever I could do to be involved. Like I was like just obsessed, like needed to be involved in every aspect of it. I wanted to write my judging test and then take the practical test where you like shadow someone and then go through all those steps too. So I did all that within like the first year, I guess, all of 2015 while competing a bunch of times. And I think I refed like 15 competitions or some crazy thing like that.
Wow.
And then 2016, I guess it would have been when we went to Worlds in Erie, Pennsylvania. My timeline is not the greatest with keeping time. I think it must have been 2016. And then I hurt myself not long after that. I kind of like, it was like a chronic thing that I didn't know what I had done at first. Bulging discs, my doctor said, whatever, like they didn't really tell me what to do. And I wasn't experienced enough to know how to, you know, take a step back and let my body heal. And I kept pushing it until I had a full herniation in 2018, I guess that would be. Yeah, 2018, and I fully herniated my L5 and ended up in the hospital after I had like my legs and everything were numb for over like 12 hours. And they basically were like you're bordering on needing surgery if you can't move soon. And I basically just willed myself to get off the bed and go pee because I hadn't gone to the bathroom in so long. And they're like, you need to go to the bathroom, like your bladder's full or whatever. They did an ultrasound, like you can't feel that you have to pee. I'm like, no, is that bad? I can't feel anything. And they're like, yeah, that's not a good sign. So I kind of just willed myself to move and then started over again at that point in 2018. I did two minor meets in 2018, and I helped run the 100% Raw and the World Powerlifting Association, the World's competition that was here that in Calgary that was held in wind sport. So that was awesome. There were athletes that came from all over the world. My favorites were the Samoans. They were incredible. They danced the haka for us. It was so great. And so that was probably one of my best experiences, even though I was just running it and judging and doing all that stuff, not competing at that point. That was probably one of my favorite times, being involved in that federation and in powerlifting. And then after that, I kind of just I felt like the passion for powerlifting was kind of dying out a bit. I just was burning out kind of. I was doing a lot. Like, sorry?
No, I just want to, before you go into that, I just want to take a step back about some of the things you said. I've got some questions. So, like, obviously having a C-section, right? Being a postpartum mom, like I can relate to what you're saying. After I had my first son, people don't believe me except for the people who obviously witnessed it. So I had paralysis from the epidural. I didn't have a torn diastasis recti, but I had to, and I still have to pick up my left leg. So when I like get up or I try to get in and out of things, it's really weird. Like it's kind of like a mind over matter thing. But I was crawling on all fours, and like I didn't know if I'd be able to dance again, walk again, lift again. And it's like what you said, I just had to like, and I'll never forget it because it was so traumatizing for me that I was like, I never want to feel this helpless again. So when I had my son, I couldn't pick him up, I couldn't hold him. So I had to crawl on the floor to get to the bathroom in my house, and I had to roll off the couch, and I literally put him in a receiving blanket and dragged him on the floor. Like I was lucky because it was like a soft, like fake hardwood, so he wouldn't get hurt.
Oh, yeah.
But I had to literally like a gorilla, just, and I was really lucky that I've genetically been blessed with a really strong upper back and legs. And I had to compensate for that for a long time. And I've also got a lot of loose skin, obviously from gaining so much weight, being pregnant, and then going back. But the reason why I'm bringing that up, because like what you said is how you said you pushed through that and you kept going even though you were in tons of pain. So my question is, like, obviously rehabbing the pelvic floor, and lifting correctly and not neglecting the core is really, really important, and not in an accusatory way. But do you think, because I and I'm not questioning them, I'm not accusing them of anything negative, but I've interviewed a lot of women who have accomplished insane things after having a baby in the first year, right? And obviously there's sometimes genetics at play, prior athletic history, how you trained if you had a coach, like there's all these different things, right? Your training method, whatever. But do you think that you hitting barbells and training the way you did was too intense and that possibly injured you? Do you think it was just because you had a C-section or prior athletic history? Like, tell me more about like how you specifically trained in the gym before you hit barbells and start training for powerlifting, because I feel like those things are important because it's confusing for women. There's so much content on Instagram and social media, and the women are trying to compare themselves or follow the workouts their heroes or woman crushes are in the strength sports. I'm curious what the details are on that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I first went back into the gym after my C-section, I had just a nutrition coach who programmed me like very basic workouts. It wasn't powerlifting or anything like that. So it definitely wasn't that part, I don't think. Like I definitely didn't rush any of that. I don't think. I mean, maybe, but I do think that when I started powerlifting, the coach I had at that point, I hired a powerlifting coach, the person who had approached me at the gym at that point.
Right.
He was quite young, and I think I was his first client. I was very new to strength sports in general.
Right.
I was new in the body that I was in, like postpartum, as well as losing a substantial amount of weight. And I had never been that small really in a long time. At that point in my life, I had lost like quite a bit of weight. So I was quite thin and starting from scratch. And I think that I just wanted to kind of fit in somewhere so badly that I pushed myself so hard. And I also had a coach that didn't really, not to be a dick, didn't really know what he was doing. Like I'm sure, all these years have passed. It's 2021 now. That he knows a whole lot more. And I know we learned even just on the short time that we were together, like things. I definitely know that I definitely pushed it too hard. Like I should have, if I could give any advice to women that are going to the gym, it would be to focus on your form first and like, don't give a shit about the weight on the bar. I just wanted to, like, every day, every week, I wanted to PR, I wanted to lift more, I wanted to, like, it didn't matter. And like, I'll watch back videos now and I'm like, oh my God, like, no wonder your back hurts. Like, no wonder.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's so surprised. I mean, I've seen people lift way worse than that and never hurt themselves, but like, you know, I also I'm predisposed to back injury. Back injury does run in my family. We have disc issues. It's something that I really wasn't even as aware of until I got hurt and started bringing it up. And like, apparently it's a thing. So I definitely think like slow and steady wins the race for sure, because when you hurt yourself and really hurt yourself and you have to start over and start over and start over and keep tweaking and keep starting over, it's just, you're not getting anywhere anyway.
The only thing that benefited me was the time, right? Because I didn't do my first strongman competition till 3 years postpartum. So the first year, all I did was, like you said, is I actually couldn't walk. So I would do aquafit, and that was with my baby, and I would just walk in the pool. And then I started swimming laps, and then I started doing resistance bands at home, light resistance bands. And then I started going to the gym and doing some dumbbells and some like the, you know, machines. And then I went from that into like kind of like the middle ground between that and hitting barbells. I did some kettlebell swings. I did some, like, you know, not CrossFit training, but very much like, you know, plyo boxes, carries, that kind of stuff. That's when I started buying strongman books and like working on like a lot of accessory work. And because I had always lifted my whole life, even if there was breaks, and I'd always been dancer and athletic, you know, I made sure I focused on not necessarily high reps, but I definitely wasn't doing 5x5s and 3x5s. I was doing the 8s and the 10s and whatever, and slow, proper form and breathing. And so my gym time sessions have always been long. They've always been 2.5 hours. I'm used to that, right? I used to bodybuild. I taught dance fitness for a long time, so I can spend hours exercising and I don't notice. But I can say though that I didn't have someone teach me barbells properly, and I didn't have a powerlifting coach. And so when I hit barbells, I did hurt myself in the beginning more than once, because I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And when I did try to get help, I feel like the resources, because I didn't know what I know now, kind of talked to me like I was a bit of an idiot. And I just, you know, it was like, what are you doing? Like, you shouldn't be even doing this. But I feel like I want to know on it is, I think that, you know, learning to do Olympic lifting even before you power lift is very, very important, because you get the proper form in its full body. And Olympic lifting is identical to strongman. It's not as controlled because you're moving different things in different angles, but it's the same type of compound movements and throws, right? So you know, things like sandbag carries and Atlas stones and log presses and that kind of stuff. So I'm just curious, like, what your thoughts on that are. Like, do you think that that's true? And do you think if you would have done that with powerlifting, you know, it's not like you said, it's not about awards or success, but you think that, you know, that would affect your back? I'm like you. I was born with disabilities with my back and my hips out. And so my legs aren't straight and my body isn't straight. It's not something chiropractic can fix. So I have to be very, very mindful of that, because if I fuck my back, it's usually fucked for weeks. And so I've always been like, kind of like a binge disorder, but with training, right? With fitness, it's like yo-yo, because I mentally, physically want to do it and can do it, but then I forget that my bones have their limitations and I need to really respect them. So like this time I was like, hey, I know what I accomplished in 3 years. Strongman's not going anywhere. It's been a year. I'm just going to keep doing the right thing, so that I know this time I'll go way farther than the first time, because I've not fucking around. But anyways, curious, because people think like Olympic lifting and strongman are completely opposite sides of the spectrum, and I don't think they are. I think that those two can be super forces together. And they're like, no, it's CrossFit. I'm like, not really.
I definitely, like, the fundamentals of weightlifting are similar. And the thing is, like, strength is going to carry over to strength. So, I mean, if you can be efficient in weightlifting and just basics like a snatch and a clean and jerk and an overhead press and an overhead squat or whatever it is, that's not going to hurt your progress in strongman. We have axle clean and presses. We have many overhead movements. Why wouldn't you want to be more efficient in putting weight over your head? Like, look at Melissa Peacock.
Yeah,
like, she's the best overhead, like, in the fucking world. Like, she's substantially stronger than most women in Canada, for sure. Like, one of the top in the world. And look at how she trains, right? Like, she trains like a hybrid lifter. And I think that, and a lot of people are, like, Sam Bellevue does as well. Like, sometimes we just have to, like, take a step back. And I think that, I don't know. It's like,
totally.
I think when you're in it though, you get clouded by it, right? Like, you don't want to waste your time learning on other things. It was exactly why I got hurt. I didn't want to take a step back. I didn't want to dial it back. I didn't want to learn. I wanted to just.
You want to be sexy with the PRs. You want to show up and show up. The thing is like, don't give a fuck what people think. Like, you know, times when I was listening, people would come up to me and comment. It would distract me. Most times it's compliments, but you know, you had some like stupid idiots who are like bodybuilders, no leg muscles, trying to fucking tell me how to like deadlift. Look at the fuck out of my face. But anyways, like hybrid lifting, and I think that's why I was so successful and why I was able to. I mean, I bought books like Starting Strength. I was like, whoa, math. I'm not dysgraphia. I'm dyslexic. This fucking hurts my head. No. So then I just bought his like, strongman books, the PDFs, and I printed them out, and I was like, okay. And yeah, I mean, I was a lot of trial and fucking error, but now, like, especially talking about like for pelvic floor C-section recovery, I'm going to name the movement wrong because it's time of night for me, but it's like basically, clean over your head, and then you squat and you keep the barbell over your head. To me, that is probably one of the most effective things for like holding, like I said, a sandbag or an Alice stone. Being able to hold heavy weight in that position in a squat, right? Like down low. And then squats, obviously, but you know what I mean? Anyways.
Yeah, I never really thought of that way, but like, it just depends too on like where your weaknesses are and what your strengths are, right? Like, I mean, for post, like straight out of the gate, post C-section, I wasn't doing anything besides walking and stretching and just like listening to my body. I did not push it. That was like one thing that I was like so adamant about was like, I'm not going to push myself to like rupture my incision or like have my cervix fall out of my body. Like I'm not, the gym will be there when I'm ready to get there. My body needs to heal first.
I'm glad you brought that up because too many women like permanently disable themselves and literally fuck up their internal organs like forever because they want to look a certain way postpartum. And I've said to women, I'll say till the day I die, if your husband is that much of an asshole, then he would leave you for your postpartum. Then he's a dick and he didn't love you and he's shit and doesn't deserve you and you should leave him. Full stop. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. You just made a human. And it's the same thing like what you said is like, I was like, no, I'm not going to pressure myself because after my first kid, I was like wearing the Spanx and trying to, hold on to the clothes from before and just like I was like, no, I'm not fucking doing it. And I don't give people like, oh, go train your gym, come back in 9 months and be shredded. And it's like, even when I just did my first strongman competition postpartum, I was like, I don't care if I win. I mean, man, shit, if I get third, I'll be super fucking happy. But like, I know I've been working on fixing all those little problems and healing properly, not trying to get PRs to push for heavy strength, right? I've been doing a lot of volume. We're doing long workout sessions, doing a lot of different exercise moves. Like I usually do at least 10 movements per session. And that's even being efficient. That's because I'm doing like a sumo and a trap bar deadlift. I'm doing different angles to really build compound strength, right? Progressive strength instead of just being like just bench dead squat. Because I know that I would never get anywhere as strongman if I do that because of the weaknesses would haunt me, right? I mean, I'd be strong carries and I could run and I could hold a farmer's bar, but like that's things like Atlas stones, I'd get fucked on that. So it's like, nope.
Yeah, that was another thing with powerlifting, especially near the end of it. I kept kind of retweaking my back and just finding that like my joints were hurting and my body was just hurting because it was just the same static movements, right? You're just repeating the same static movements over and over again. And it was just not working for my body or my brain. Like at that point, it just felt really defeated. I hired another coach right around the time I fully herniated my disc actually. And since then, like he's been incredible and helped me heal from this entirely and got me into strongman and has coached me and all that stuff. And I pretty much train hybrid strongman powerlifting with like bodybuilding style accessories in the off season or whatever. I'd try and have some HIIT workouts in there too because I want to, I gotta stay fit. I want to have good cardio too. Like a lot of people are like a lot of my family members are like, oh, so strongman, so you're gonna get like fat. Well, no, like the strongest men in the world are gigantic. They're not fat. They're gigantic. They're 6'9". Like, they're big people.
Even when they shed, you put fucking Eddie by a regular bodybuilder and he's fucking shredded right now because he's boxing. He still is a beast in comparison to them. So I always think that's the stupidest shit because it's like my core got thicker and thicker when I was training strongman. So I got it really, really skinny. And as soon as I started training strongman, it's just like it's hard as rock. And so I was like, that's just so fat. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm stupid. Shut up.
Yeah. Plus, I don't know. And if you take a look at some of the best female strong women in the world, a lot of them are revamping the way they train and the way they eat because it's not benefiting them to just gain weight and gain weight and gain weight and gain weight. Obviously, you don't want to be skinny and weak, but if you eat to perform, it changes the game entirely. Plus, you just feel better overall.
Yeah, like when you look at Eddie Hall's diet when he was a beginner, like it was shit. Like I don't sit there and pound back cheesecake. Because I do very low sugar. How many sugars can be real sugar, like fruit and honey, like non-artificial and non-bleached white sugar, right? But like you're saying, it's like you need to eat real food and not shit food, processed food. Because I mean, you know what I mean? It's like I always eat lean meats. Like I love chicken. Like I eat, like I can eat 6 chicken breasts a day. And because of my weight, like I'm 320 pounds, I don't look at it. I don't look it, but I mean, I can't push back 4,500 calories a day to save my life unless I was eating shit food. So for me, you know, like, cause when like you described earlier what you did, when I first started strongman, I was doing the same thing, just bowls of meat, and then my sugar would drop. Cause I was like, I listened to Jordan Peterson talk about his daughter and how she fixed her problems. I can't do that. And I was following different things I was learning from the strongman community. So I did that, and then I do like the salad, and then like just a carb before I work out, like the powder into my drink. Holy fuck, man. I'm just telling you, it's not good. Cause then I would binge on my husband. I don't buy it, but he'd buy cheesecake, and I'd fucking be in that freezer. Cause I was like, I stopped eating rice. You know what I mean? Like I was a crazy person. So now I don't fucking do that. But you know what I mean? So I don't crave that shit because I, like you said, you eat healthy food. But like I say to people, they're like, you're beautiful, you're strong. I'm like, the thing is, I was like, I'm a dancer. I've always been a dancer, and it's harder to move because mass moves mass. I'm like, yeah, but the heavier you are, the slower you are, though. Like you want to be somewhat lean. You have your cardio. You want to have strong, healthy lungs. I want to live forever. I want to take care of my kids. So it's like, to me, what's the world? Gain the world in strongman or powerlifting, and then you pass the fuck out and you die from a cardiac arrest, even if you're bodybuilder. Like that's dumb. That for me, that's not worth it. Like you're a legend, but you're still dead. I'd like to live. You know, a little less legendy, if that's fine. But you can, like, you can hypertrain and eat healthy and still be strong and not look like shit. And then, of course, if you're going to choose, steroids and supplements, that's you, boo. I'm not going to judge you, but obviously that makes a difference too. But, it depends what your motivators are, right? But at the end of the day, like you said, you don't have to be super fucking massive. Like a lot of really tiny lightweights are fucking killing it. You know what I mean? And like teens and kids and all these upcoming categories, it's like, you don't need to go balls to the wall and be like Eddie and eat fucking he ate a whole goddamn cheesecake, and I was like, how?
I vomit everywhere.
That's insane. I was like, oh, that's a lot of dairy. I don't know, bro. So after you injured your back, going back to that, what made you decide to get back into strength sports and pursue strongman competition?
Well, I knew I wasn't going to quit. I was so involved in it, and I loved it so much. I obviously felt defeated, but I had my new coach at the time too, Austin Ryan, who is still my coach now. He is incredible and one of my best friends, and just such an intelligent, supportive guy. Like I cannot say enough good things about him. And we basically just, had a game plan to heal my back, take it slow, start with the McGills every day and walk every day and work on my core and get that, and then slowly add in weight again. And then I just did those two like minor powerlifting competitions that year after I injured my back. And I kind of just, like I said, I felt like my joints were hurting. I always somehow tweaking my back a bit, doing just powerlifting stuff. And it was getting frustrating, and I was losing my passion for it. And I had then met in 2018 my now boyfriend, Ryan Jabley, who was in strongman, and our group of friends were all kind of in strongman as well. And I had been to competitions, and, I was a little bit intimidated by it because it's quite different than powerlifting, right? Like you're just standing in one place or you're laying on a bench. Like that's literally it for powerlifting. Like
I'm just thinking, hold on, I need to make a fat person pose. I'm just thinking of like a beach chair and being like rubbing your belly. I'm like, oh, bro, I need to bench. Hold on a second. And then just like going back to just rubbing your belly.
Yeah. 10-minute rest between sets. What do they call them? Powerlifter rests. When you rest like for 10 minutes at a time, which is insane.
If I'm a strongman, I'd be like at the gym and I'd like watch some like the inefficient powerlifters, and the amount of shit they took before they work out. I'm like, bro, you're not a motherfucking chimpanzee. What you need all pre-workout, dry scoopy fucking pre-workout, and then doing a set. Been there for 10 minutes, and all you've done is bench press, and now you've left. What the fuck is that?
And then you ate a bag of candy, and you benched for 5 hours. Like maybe 5 sets, and then you went home. I know, driving me nuts.
I'm like, can you? And like on my old gym too, there was like not enough equipment, and so I'd be like, because it's like really like they're like slow, and I'm like, can you move out of the way? I'm a strongman. I have to do a million fucking different workouts. Get out of the way.
Oh my god! And setting all the strongman shit up takes forever. God.
It does. And then I'd be doing like HIIT workouts like for my warm ups, and after people be like, so I do them dance style because like I'm a rope, so I know how to like get things done in a very, and I've taught gymnastics, I've taught so many different things that like ballet, so I'm really good with that plyometrics. That's my I'm a master plyometrics, and people will be looking at me like, dumbass, like the power. I'm like, dumbass with the fucking candy. I'm gonna go home and eat some fucking protein and meat, bitch. You take your fucking gummy bears and belly, bitch. Sorry, I like the word bitch. I'd be like, you come to my gym. I'd be like, if I had a big gym, I'd be like, what's up, bitch? How you doing? Let's get this done. Here's the shake. Let's go. Go time.
So it doesn't. It's getting called. I feel like getting called bitch these days is just like a term of endearment. Like, hey, bitch, what's up? Okay.
It's true.
Unless I'm like her, she's a bitch.
Yes.
Then I'm like, yeah.
Yes. You don't want that. Don't. On the topic of looking schmexy at the gym, if you're a first-time listener, you need to hop onto our website at www.pandastrong.ca because we have a full men's line of shorts, leggings, fucking joggers, hoodies, long sleeve shorts, tanks, shirts, tanks, everything, water bottles, ginormous towels for after your shower, after workout, and many, many much more. Okay, lots of amazing things as well for the females, and it's totally inspired by strongman and powerlifting, Olympic lifting, Highland Games, actually by real athletes in the sports. Many of our lines and designs are from our elite athletes and brand ambassadors that we've kind of made in their image, which is really cool. Bright colors, custom designs. Check it out. You don't want to miss it. And when you join the Panda Strong family, you get 20% off your first order. So log on, check it out. There's amazing sayings like "You're not my dad," which we discussed earlier.
Yeah, you're not my dad.
Don't give me bro advice. Leave me alone. So anyways, on the topic of bro advice, what are some tips, techniques you think powerlifters can add or avoid when training to be successful in powerlifting?
In powerlifting specifically?
Besides not eating gummy bears and lying on a bench for 10 minutes.
Yeah, the 10-minute rest periods are not necessary. Like, you need to train like
yes, it is.
you need to train with intention. I was the same when I first started, and I noticed a lot of people that kind of just stick around when they're training. Like, you're not going to get any stronger, you're not going to get any faster, you're not going to get any more efficient if you're just taking your time. If you're like, you have to train as if like your life depends on it. That's what I think. Like, you have to put your best effort in every day, which might be different day to day, right? Like, that's why there's the RPE scale. Sometimes an 8's going to feel like 250 pounds on your back. Sometimes an 8's going to be 350 pounds on your back, whatever. As long as you're still putting in that effort and training with the intention to get better, I think that's huge. Also, like, rest days are so important. When I first started, I would go to the gym, even if I didn't have a training day, I would just go anyway and dick around or like bodybuild or do cardio or whatever, or just like didn't want to take days off. It's so important to have rest days.
Oh,
like,
I did that too. I fucking burnt myself out so many times doing that. Like,
so bad.
Oh my God. You don't want to know. It's bad.
I live for my rest days. Like, I had today off. My body's so sore. I'm like, thank God I'm not doing anything today besides walking and stretching, because fuck, I am fried.
Master the panda nap. Okay, so true story. Once upon a time. So when I got my GED, and like I said, this is before I knew I had like all these different learning disabilities and what they were. I mean, I knew my brain was neurodivergent, but I didn't know what. Anyways, I did 5 grades of math. I was at a grade 7 level in 2.5 months, and people don't believe me. And only 3 hours in the morning, 5 days a week in the school. And my classmates don't get mad because I was passed the fuck out. I do the math in the morning. I taught my brain to do the hard shit in the morning, and then I fall asleep, and I'd be drooling and talking and be disgusting. Probably other things. And I sit there and I wake up and go, where did you get to sleep in class? And I'm like, because I'm fucking brilliant, okay? And then I wake up and do a bit more work, like an hour and a half, and then I go home, I eat food, and I nap again. And then I do my homework, and then I go to bed. Or no, nap again, and then I go to the gym, and I go to bed. So it's like, do the panda, be a bear, fucking nap, hibernate, okay? It works. Like, that's how I've gone through this whole year postpartum with having a podcast and my business, and all the shit I do is like napping.
Yeah.
People really
sleep is so underrated, honest to God.
Over glutamine and post-workout, sleep.
Yeah, honestly. And I think another piece of advice I would give that I wish, like, I guess it was kind of thrown on me, but like, hire a coach that knows what they're doing. Don't hire someone because they seem to have a great social media presence or they're a really good manipulator and fucking are full of shit. Like, and do your research. Yeah, and make sure you're hiring someone who knows what they're doing and actually cares about you. And like, at least commit to 12 weeks at least of a 12-week training program, and just stick with it, because that's another thing that I wanted to do right off the hop. It was freaking, I want to try this, I want to do that. How come I should change my low bar squat stance to this? I should try these shoes. I should do that. But like, just pick and stick with it for like 12 weeks, and then maybe change some shit up, unless you're obviously like hurting yourself. There's
3 things. Okay, tell me if you think I'm right or wrong and your thoughts on it. But in my humble opinion, when you talk about things that can be deceptive in terms of a qualified trainer, right? So a couple things. There's like social media. The new thing is a Brazilian butt lift, right? So a lot of these keto weight loss stories and things that you see are actual full on bullshit. And women are dying from butt lifts. They're trying to get them banned right now because butt lifts are just butt lifts. They're really badly named. You know, you're sucking the fat from all other parts of your body and all of a sudden putting it in your butt. It's not natural. It's not nature. Your body's like, what the hell is this? It's super dangerous. And so many women are so desperate to look a certain way, and they see these women, they're like, oh, she's qualified. Or you can have a ton of certifications and be a horrible coach. There's so many a-holes I've met in my life, in my years of being in this business, 15 years, who are like kinesiology students, and they're like dumb as doornails. Like they do not know how to use different training methods. They don't know how to customize around people. And also, not throwing shade, but you know, you can be a super accomplished athlete and not be a good coach. Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
I know, like if somebody was like, Stephanie, well, you can't like do a flying split as a dancer. I'm like, you're right, I can't, but I'm really good at choreography. And so I would always have dancers who could do what my body couldn't do, you know, and express my art through them. Like, you know, and that's a good coach essentially, right? Is that you outdo them eventually, right? They take all their mistakes, things they've learned and pass on to you. So it's like, don't use certifications as a qualifier, like you said, Instagram following, their physical aesthetic, because that's dumb. Don't use that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it is though. It is. So like, just find someone who you can trust, who sounds knowledgeable, they understand you, they respect you, they care about you, they respect you, they appreciate you, and who wants to see you succeed and help you reach your goals, and who is very detailed and talks to you about that, asks you questions and challenges you, not someone who just like takes your fucking money and makes ridiculous promises to you, because you can't. There's so much to play in health, weight loss, and all these different things. And at the end of the day, it's like, if your goal is becoming fitter, winning a competition, that's what you train for. And everything else around that in that process is bullshit. Ignore it. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Like when I went and just last competition, the girl weighed me. Well, it could be like she pooped her pants because she's like a bodybuilder and she does physique. So when she saw that I had like 320 pounds, I'm telling you, mentally that would have fucked me up like 10 years ago, 3-4 years ago. And I was like, it was what it was, because when I was super strong part of this baby, I was 300 pounds. I'm like, that's 20 pounds of kangaroo pouch, loose skin, and extra boobies. Okay, I can do pretty good. I think I got back down to my pretty big weight. Yeah, cool. Accomplishment. All right. Now we're going to focus on, you know, swapping that 60 pounds for strength. And if I weigh the same, great. I don't care. She was shocked that did not make me change in any way. I was like, no, because I know how I eat. I exercise. So I'm not phased by it. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, it is what it is. I have a clean bill of health. I'm good. You know? That's impossible. Like, no. Not good. Not pre-diabetic. Good. Disordered eating though, if I obsess over my weight, that's gonna cause some shit. That's gonna fuck with my hormones and everything. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, I don't bother people who think like that. So on the topic of like we've talked about like earlier in this conversation, powerlifters and strongmen, how they can kind of be, well, I'm a powerlifter and I'm stronger than you because I'm more technical, or strongman, I'm stronger than you because I do all these different carries. But then there's some athletes who do both, or like you go from powerlifting to strongman because of creativity. But you know, for people who are kind of on the fence, who want to go from powerlifting to strongman, and they're just influenced what they see on media. What are some things they can do to add into their training programs? Because obviously you change things, you know, going from powerlifter to strongman. So what would the training program look like if you were working with coaching someone?
I mean, I guess it would depend. Like, say if I was like right now, obviously I didn't take part in nationals last weekend for a few reasons. But I will be finishing the year with the powerlifting competition. I'm going to be doing Shell Shock 6. So it really depends. So Shell Shock. Like, for a while,
an announcer. I'll fucking be Joe Rogan. I'll be the female Joe Rogan and be like, oh, remember that video of him? He's like losing his shit over something that happened. Like,
that's like one of my favorite memes came from that. Yeah. Yes, I do love that. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so it depends on what's the primary like competition coming up. Say I was still training for nationals, but I knew that I was also going to do Shell Shock like 5 weeks after, 4 weeks, whatever, 3 weeks after, 4 weeks after. The heavier compound movements would still be in there, so squat, bench, and deadlift. But the main focus would also be on the events for nationals, right? Like, so, and the accessories would just kind of carry over to both. Like, it would say, because I'm benching, but also have overhead, I would probably focus a lot on triceps and things like that. But now that I am training strictly for just powerlifting, but I don't, like, my off-season focus will be on strongman. That's like my main sport right now. I still have my main movements. So the first things I do when I get to the gym are either squat, bench, or deadlift. I'm going into a peak now, so it's heavier, like doubles and triples. And then my accessories are strongman stuff. Like I'll do yoke. I have sandbag over bar, or sandbag carries, or circus dumbbell, or whatever it might be at that point. But of course, because it's now more of off season, that stuff is lighter and more volume based. But really, my coach is the one who comes up with the majority of that magic. He manages to make it all work somehow. I do not know sometimes how I survive it, but honestly, it really keeps the powerlifting part of it more exciting too. Like if I'm just squatting, benching, and deadlifting and doing some bodybuilding exercises, I just like, my brain's like, no, man, this isn't fun. But throw in yoke and some log and some sandbag runs and stones and whatever, bag over bar, the sandbag tosses and stuff like that. It makes it fun. Like you're still doing your static movements, but then you're moving and moving weight. So I think a good mix of both is good for everybody, no matter what sport you're doing.
Totally. Yeah. I think like I said, Olympic lifting, like if you do that, that's going to give you your basic foundation for strongman, right? Of getting the proper body form and then fixing any dysfunctions or weak areas with like dumbbells and obviously like kettlebells for like stuff like deadlifts and stuff like that, but you can do it with the barbell. But my point is, if you don't feel you have the control or stability and proper form, then it's safer with a kettlebell or dumbbell, obviously. But like, Olympic lifting for sure, like that's a good start. And then if you're really pushing for strength, obviously like your FED, but you have to do obviously like accessory work for those little muscles, because there's no way you can do isometric holds like Alice Stone if you don't have those little muscle strength, and obviously good endurance for the carries for strongman. So yeah, like you said, you have to not neglect it, but people really underestimate fast walking for strongman. You don't need to run. Fast walking and wearing a weighted vest. That's why I was so successful with all the carry at pull events. Sorry, my first competition was I just wore once I got super strong and started plateauing, I worked on deficits and then pulls, right, and pulses and pauses, and then I just started fucking putting weight on myself. I literally attached as much weight as I could to myself and then just walk really slow like a tire. You know what I mean? That doesn't have to be like super high intensity. You can get the same explosive strength by going super slow, right? Because it's like, if you ever see the Clydesdale horse, those fucking beasts, right? They're not running. You know what I mean? They're moving super fucking slow and they're so strong.
But they're just consistent and like efficient with the type of work that they do.
Totally.
Exactly.
100%. So, like, I think they're both equally as challenging. Like I said, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, strongman. I think the debate of it is just dumb. Like, pick your sport, do it. If you want to do more than one, great. I mean, there's crossover, right? But you have to be, like you said, you have to be specific and focused. And programming can be confusing and overwhelming. There's so many different types of lifts. So, we always say get a coach. And don't, it's worth the investment. Like, amount of wasted time in the gym and then trying to read and understand a million books, like, get a coach.
Most people can't coach themselves properly anyway. You're never going to push yourself hard enough, or you're going to push yourself too hard and get hurt. Like, it's not, like, most people just can't. Most coaches have coaches. I have a coach. Like, you have to have a coach. Plus, it just takes the stress off. If someone's doing that work for you and keeping you accountable and checking in with you, then it's just less stress on yourself, honestly. You need that, like, someone else watching your videos and giving you feedback. Like, my coach is not always going to see, like, he sees stuff that I don't see, or I pick up stuff that he doesn't see, right? Like, or this is bothering me. Like, did you notice this type of thing? Like, whatever it might be. Like,
be teachable, don't be offendable. So, like, lastly, like, and this isn't a criticism, right? It's just open opinion, thoughts, reflection. So we talk about, like, because obviously you're like a referee, right? So now that you've been involved in like the powerlifting strongman for the length of time you've been, do you think overall, what sport, like, I don't have a stats with me, but your opinion for training as a coach, what, in terms of something who's like, hey, I just want to get strong as fuck. And then once I get strong as fuck as a woman or man, whatever, I'll figure out what sport I want to do from there, like in terms of Olympic lifting, strongman, Highland, whatever. So in your opinion, out of all those sports and the different types of training, obviously hybrid for sure, no matter whatever sport you're training for, but out of all those sports, which do you think produces the strongest women in different age groups in the short term and long term? Like, if you're talking about like a training method, or like, because people are like, no, if you strong men would be stronger if they train like powerlifters. You know what I mean? Or they have better like blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm trying to say?
I don't know. That's such a good question. I think, I mean, it just goes back to like I definitely think strongman transfers into regular life better, obviously, because we don't move in one plane every day. Like we're not just moving up and down every day. Like we're moving, we're rotating, we're putting things over our head, we're lifting, we're squatting, we're bending over. Like, so I think strongman is better in that sense. But to be statically strong isn't going to hinder you in any way. And I think those like benches, I just hate bench. So like whatever.
I don't know why.
I would prefer overhead to bench. But
log press bench I like, but a straight barbell, no, fuck no. Anything but a barbell.
Not fun. But I do think that like just being fundamentally strong in those areas, like a squat bench, a deadlift, overhead, some type of carry, you know, focusing on core work and, you know, also like mindful movement, cardio of some sort, whatever, like you would like, don't need to be running every day. Like you said, walking, rucking, biking, whatever. I think if you could focus on those things, like I think that would produce some substantially scary, strong women that are going to be coming into that. Like if they got into it in high school or whatever, oh my God, I can't even imagine what type of strength athletes they would be at 30. Like, holy.
That's what I'm saying. I just the me and I was like, holy fuck, man, because I'm telling you, there's so many strong teenagers that never foresee, like their talent was never exercised. So people are like, oh, well, these girls are taking, like, no, it's because no one ever fucking thought girls were strong and that women should never touch barbells. Even my 20s in the gym, there was a no-fly zone. And gym staff did not back you up if those guys threw you the fuck out and called you fat and said, you get the fuck out of here. Like, they didn't give a shit. Like, that was not a thing in commercial gyms. Like, especially in the 80s. Like, that was inappropriate. They're like, but I just want to lift. Get the fuck out of here. You have a vagina. Go away.
I spent most of my time like doing cardio and like kind of like doing dumbbell stuff, but I had no idea what I was doing really. Like it was mostly cardio, like, and stretching. And that sucked a lot. It was not a good time.
Ow! I pulled my vagina. That
pretty much
happen. I have done that after having kids. That fucking hurt. My husband.
I can imagine.
And he's like whining. I'm like, bitch, I got cut down there. I got cut twice. I had surgery for both kids. You're not allowed to whine, okay? You got poked. You got prickled. That's fine. Okay?
Yeah, I've heard that about that. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's not fun, but
no, but you still also have to push a head out of your little hole, okay? Thank you very much.
Or grow it. Or get a period.
Or grow it.
Cramps.
Or be nauseous for 9 months. 9 months. I could not keep anything down. Not even yogurt. Not even a cracker. I don't know how the baby. I really don't. It's amazing. Science. I don't know. It helped that I ate protein shakes the first 3 months before I was super nauseous and that I was heavy in the beginning. I was healthy. I was fit. You know, he was ready to go. He had a good start. What was I going to say about, yeah, I agree with you about the like strongman in terms of like either way, if you're training those certain ways, you're going to see success. And I think, yeah, people need to stop, get over the politics, get over the stupid nuances and just train, get in the gym, get a proper coach, lift, see what happens, you know, and go from there and don't worry about anything else. I think that's specifically true, like with our fall here, talking about, you know, keeping fit hacks for the holiday season, like, you know, have your pumpkin pie, like have those memories, cherish that, have functional healthy eating, like the eating disorders and such, like, you know, I think that strongman and strength sports can sometimes trigger that stuff because all of a sudden now you're hyper focused on nutrition and supplements. And then, you know, like I said, you know, seeing influencers take this and that. And I think it still is a struggle for strong women, I think, in general, sometimes even experienced strongman athletes, you know, who haven't quite dealt with it yet. So what are your thoughts on that? Like tips, things women can do over the holiday season to keep proper nutrition and train without having these extreme high and lows? Like, oh, I didn't go to the gym for 5 days. I'm disgusting, you know?
I think like a super important thing, obviously, again, is to show yourself some grace and to be realistic with yourself, like with all things. You know, most of us have gone through the phase where we were bringing Tupperware to family dinners and eating our chicken breast and broccoli and tiny bit of rice, and it was miserable for the most part. Almost everyone I spoke to regrets it, you know, because they couldn't look back on the time with their family and it wasn't good memories, really. Like, I'm sure some of it is good, but you still are kind of feel like you're missing out, right? So like, I think what we need to focus on is, obviously it's hard in this time of year. There's shit everywhere. There's treats everywhere. There's parties everywhere. you choose a couple that are priority to you, the ones that are really important
Yep,
to you, and you go to those, and you eat, and you have a couple drinks, and you enjoy yourself, and let it be that. It doesn't have to be every day for 3 weeks straight because it's December that you stuff your face. Because that's not good for anybody, no matter what time of year it is. But it also doesn't need to be none of them at all, and you miss out on everything, or you don't go, or you pack your food with you, or you make a deal with yourself to, I don't know, instead of having the pumpkin pie, you have the glass of wine, or instead of the glass of wine, you have the pumpkin pie. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. There's ways where you can make anything work, right? I think the mentality all or nothing just needs to go entirely, and people just need to I don't know. I think also slowing down and like being realistic also, like if you go and eat all of the pumpkin pie and drink all of the wine and whatever, you're going to feel like shit anyway. So like just breathe, be mindful, listen to your body when you're eating, listen to your body when you're drinking, all of those things. And then I guess the other thing with working out, like do your best to keep walking. If you're not going to make it to the gym, keep your body moving. Like no matter what, you still need to move. It doesn't matter the time of year, but don't beat yourself up if you have family visiting, or if you're visiting somewhere else and you have kids and you can't just run off to the gym and whatever it is, or you just haven't seen family in the last 2 years because COVID's been crap and you don't want to miss out. So that's fine. But then go on a family walk after dinner, do some stretching in the morning, do some stretching before bed. Like, again, this all or nothing, I think, is what kills us. And it's what makes this constant, like, restrict and binge mentality in the gym, with food, with everything that we do. And it's just, honestly, it's hindering so much of us in so many ways. And if you just take a breath and like listen to your body, check in with yourself frequently, like, how am I feeling right now? Am I pissing myself off? Is this going to be really bad? Like, have I had enough? Or opposite, like, you know what, I've been really, really good and I haven't done anything like this in a long time. I'm going to have the pie. I'm going to whatever the hell it is, then go for it. Like, it's just food. It's just a missed day at the gym. Like, the world's not imploding.
You know what,
There's
though?
tomorrow.
It's like, it is so, the reason why is because, like I said, in my 20s, like I started weightlifting, going to the gym when I was 13. So it's been a long time, like 20 years. I've been in the gym for 20 years, a long time. And so I've seen those trends, right? And then I've worked in gyms for 15 years. So it's like in dance studios, and it's just so toxic. I started teaching dance when I was 13, and my dance teacher at the school was like, she wanted to support me, but it was like, message was, if you want to do this commercially, you have to look a certain way, right? So that's always been engraved in me. And my regret in my 20s was, there's so much time when I was enjoying, like I watched videos of me dancing, and I'm like, all I was thinking about was how I looked. Do I look skinny enough? What are people thinking? They think I look fat. Will this guy dance with me? Does he think I'm fat? And all these just horrible opinions of myself. And then when I was a bodybuilder and I was teaching fitness, like, yeah, like you said, I was so extreme with all of those things, like no mayo in my face, fridge. I was one of those people with the salsa on noodles and whole wheat everything. And then I started eating oats raw, and it was really unhealthy. It was bad. Like I wouldn't even put salt on my rice. Like I was so extreme, and I got sick all the time. I was unhealthy. I looked healthy, and people looked up to me because I was like a size 4 at the time, but I was absolutely miserable. And you know what? I regret a lot of that because I have kids now. I can't go and see all that family. I haven't seen them in a long time. And I didn't enjoy those meals. And I don't know if I'll ever eat those same meals again because some of those people have passed away. They're no longer here.
Yep.
I literally, this is significant. When my grandma died, she gave me spaghetti. That was the last meal she ever made for me. And I put it in my fridge and my freezer, and I gave it to someone because I thought I can't eat that. That's for fat people. I'm on a diet. And that was like, and then she'd end up dying, and I can never get that meal back, right? It's so stupid. Like, that's what I'm trying to say is like, I'm happy now, I'm healthy now, and I really don't care what I weigh, and I really don't care if people don't like my body. Like, I really don't. And you got to love yourself, and there's you don't need permission for that. I need to apologize for that. But yeah, it's a wasted life. It's a totally wasted life. Do not make, like, if you lose fat, that's a natural kind of thing that comes with health. Great. But like, if you want to train for physique and bodybuilding, great. But if you don't, and you never look like that, it is not worth, like bringing Tupperware upstairs to people's houses and offending them. Do you know what I mean? You know how many fights and arguments I got into with people in my 20s and lost friends over it? Like, it's crazy to me now when I think about it. It's like, I cannot believe I had these conversations and I thought that was normal and okay. I would end friendships over it. Like, I would get very mad. And I wouldn't eat at restaurants. And if I went to a restaurant, I'd eat before or after, and I'd be watching everyone eat their food, and I was wanting to eat it so bad. And it's like, fuck, I can't get any of those years back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would
Yep.
not trade my life fuck. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. I'll eat in public. I eat what I got to do at strongman competition. I was like hucking back pulled pork at the end of competition because I was fasting because I get really nauseous. I'm one of those people that like the blood rushes when I do heavy lifts, so I get super sick. And I didn't care if people look at me. I was like, yes, I'm going fucking hard on this meat right now. You know, I'm gonna get my calories in. But you know, I just like sauce on the face, like fucking like, you know, facing the pulled pork was so good. And they beans, man. Most people like beans. Now I kept going back to beans. But anyways, like you just gotta live your life. And I think that's so important that you talk about that. One last question is like, you know, there is a talk about how there's kind of like this new generation of women like us who are moms who are kind of feeling like they don't have their identity, right? And no one's recognizing them, right? You're never enough as a mom, you're never enough in your career. And they're doing too many steroids that they're actually seriously putting their health and their life at risk. And they've got kids, right? Like they need to be around for the kids. So it's like, I feel like we've kind of swung that pendulum, and I'm pro strength. I want every woman to do it, I want teens, kids, but I feel like we've pushed that pendulum swing the other way. And I still don't see that progress with masters athletes, not 40-year-olds, like 50, 67-year-old women who I think could still be lifting, working out. You see with bodybuilders, not so much with like strength sports. So there's just like this age category. I think they said like 28 to 35, where there's like, that's where the most women are competing right now. And it's having toxic detrimental effects, like what we're talking about, disordered eating. And they're cutting all other things out of their life. And I don't know if that's healthy though, like not judging, but you know, it's a curious thing.
Yeah, I talked about it. Actually, it's funny. I made a post or a story on my Instagram about this today, just kind of, just because there's been talk about it in the strength community more frequently as of late.
Yeah.
And you know, it goes down to the same thing. Like, well, for one, where are these women getting their information from, and where are they getting their drug protocols from? A, that's worrisome to me. And B, why are these people that are so young, that are just getting newly into these sports, looking into getting on a drug protocol immediately before even putting in any time or effort into getting stronger naturally? Like, everybody's free to do what they want with their bodies. I have nothing against any of that.
100%.
Like, no judgment there, but it definitely goes back to, you know, where you're getting your information from. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you want to look a certain way, because you want to be as strong as someone else? Like, you can't compare yourself to anybody else. You're not anybody else. You don't know what they're doing at the end of the day. It could all be bullshit. You know what I mean? And also, is it worth your health in the long run? Like, is it for what? Like, you know, what are you doing it for? Are you taking all of these drugs at such a young age because of Instagram fame? Because you may squat a certain amount of weight or yoke a certain amount one time in your life, and then that's it, and then your life is over at 31, and then because you've destroyed your body? I mean, I don't know. I'm also still new into this sport and into that area of the sport. Like, when I got into powerlifting, it was 100% raw, right? It was a clean federation. So a lot of the stuff that comes along with being in strongman is still new to me as well. But I definitely know that, you know, prioritizing your nutrition and your sleep and your overall stress and, you know, your training and your recovery and your rest is going to get you much further than just jumping on a bunch of drugs that who the heck knows where you're getting the information from. And if that's the type of coach you have who's telling you to go for that right off the bat before you even really put any real effort in or see what you can do and what you can accomplish on your own, then that's probably not a coach that you want.
But I think the problem is that it's inevitable in strongman and CrossFit because of the fact, and even powerlifting, because of the fact that the strength feats are just getting so goddamn high. Like, you're talking about people pulling over 1,000 pounds. That's insane. When you compare that to the strongman history, men or women, it's insane. It's utterly insane. And I think that there needs to be a point where there has to be kind of like some accountability from the people who are at the top, right, as athletes who
people need to be more honest about it.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, because you're setting people up for injury, you're setting them up for really, unhealthy things that could kill them. And it's like, you're like, I'm just tired of the bullshit. Like, I'm not judging you. It's just like, I'm concerned about people's health and welfare. And I think that it's gone past the point of empowerment and self-love. And I think it has gone into disordered eating. Like when I watch, like now Jerry Seinfeld's on Netflix, and just recently I watched an episode where they had frozen yogurt. Remember, we didn't know there was like sugar in it,
Yeah.
and so they were eating this, low fat yogurt when that was a thing, and they were gaining weight. And little Lane must have been a size 5, and they're like, he's like, you fat tubby, and they're clutching the fat. I'm like, what the fuck? And so we went from that to this, where we're over supplementing. And I'm not hating on steroids. I'm just saying that I think that people are doing so much without and they're lying about it, that it may kill them. And that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Like safely is one thing. So I think that like there needs to be more honest conversations, and no one wants to have them. But I think that when you see certain athletes do certain things, like Rihanna Lovelace, she's a freak of nature. I think she does train. Like I watch a video, she does train. I'm not hating on her, but some of the superhuman shit that I see from men and women do on Instagram, I'm like, I don't know, man. I've been coaching, especially because I come from a gymnastics background and dance. I know how long it takes to teach people to do things and muscle development and stuff like that. So I'm like, I don't know, bro. That's some crazy fucking account. And maybe you're freaking nature genetics, cool. But it's just that when women are ending every other thing in their life for that, what happens when you get injured? What happens when you can no longer compete? Who are you? Like you have to have a separate identity out of the sport. That's what I'm trying to say. It can't be like a new god, because what if shit hits the fan? Like you said, you can't do it for 10, 20, 30 years. So like,
I mean, you could if you're gonna be smart about it, right? Like if you go, you gotta be smart and listen to your body. I think you're right though, and it really comes down to also like the fact that social media has fucked us all up so bad. Like we're comparing ourselves to people, like we can't even compare. Like lots of the best athletes in the world, they don't do anything but eat, sleep, train. Like eat, sleep, train. There is no better recovery protocol than that. Add in whatever else they're doing on the side, plus they have people cooking for them and, making sure they are in tip-top shape. There's no comparison. You're never going to be as good as them. And that's okay, because they are a very small percent of the population. But because it's in our face all the time, it seems like it's so much more. Like I have clients who would used to send pictures of usually female CrossFit athletes because they're so shredded. And they'd be like, like, what would I have to do to look like her? I'm like, fucking steroids. Like that's I'm sorry, but they would be shocked. They would be shocked. Like some of them would be like, are you sure? I'm like, I am sure. Yes.
How can you not?
That's what that is. And that's okay. Like, I don't give a fuck that they're doing it, but you're not going to look like that unless you do that. And here are the risks, and here are everything else you need to know about it. So you make an informed decision and do whatever it is you want to do. But don't compare yourself to the shit you see online. Plus, most of this shit is photoshopped anyway as well. So it's like, I think that's the main thing, is just like, I don't know, if it's in terms of strength, then, just keep working harder. Every year you should progress. If you're doing it properly, you should get stronger every year.
Full stop. Yeah. And if you're plateauing, then you need to work on accessories. You need to work, like I said, on your endurance. You need to do pauses and holds and different, movements, like isometric, like what we were talking about earlier. So anywho, like at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is like, that to me is disordered eating. And I think that it's swinging the other way to the extreme. And I think that like, you should always try to be the best you possibly can be, and go for the top and train as hard as you can and live your best life and have big dreams and big goals. And I'm not trying to, people sometimes, I swear to God, because I'm a bigger person, they always think, you're saying that because you are just jealous, or you kind of cheat at yourself and like all this bullshit. I'm like, no, I said the same thing when I was a skinny little person. Okay. I felt the same way. And I still think the same way, because everyone I worked around that was in bodybuilder physique was always so much self-hate, there was no self-love there. So I'm like, for someone who has supposedly success, right, a career and the body and the man, you seem pretty fucking miserable to me. So that's where the jig was up for me. And this was before social media was a thing, right? And I just said, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to. So it's funny that I do all this stuff now, because in my 20s, I was like, I do not want to be a part of unhealthy body images or perpetuate that. And I have achieved that body. So it's not that I'm saying that because I'm coming from a, thick girl side, right? But I think that it's something that needs to be talked about more. And I think that women need to learn what disordered eating is, and learn how to set proper nutrition goals for themselves and training goals. And like you said, not compare to unrealistic standards. And if you're gonna do that shit, make sure you know what you're doing it right. You
Yeah,
know what
talk
I mean?
to your doctor. No,
Yeah.
Either way,
Yeah.
I just think at the end of the day, like it's like you said, like I mean, I learned it over the last. Well, I learned it when I got injured. I learned it during COVID, during the lockdowns. Like this life can easily be taken away. Like training can be taken away. Competitions can be taken away from us. It's like we have to have something outside of it.
Yeah.
Or then what? You just fall into a pit of
friends,
despair.
no family. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that does
like,
happen.
Cool, I got abs though.
Yeah. No, but that does happen to athletes though, right? Even men, they're talking about like their football careers ended over an injury and they have nothing. They've fallen to becoming alcoholics. Like that's a legit thing. Like there is life beyond that. It's not because I don't want to become a pro, because I do. And I'm focused on training and training for nationals. That's my goal. But you know, like I said, now losing so much with COVID this fall, I'm like, no, you know what? Like I need to spend as much time as I possibly can with my kids, make as most memories as I can. Still put my training as a priority, but I'm not going to sit there and beat myself up because I didn't have that extra protein shake at the end of the day, or because I had an extra bowl of rest. Like I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not doing that. Life is too short. It's stupid. Not like it's what counts, right? And that's what I'm trying to say is like, who's affected if you die because you went extreme with your health?
Yeah.
All those people you've left behind.
Yeah.
Right? Like I said, it's great to be a legend in books, but not for the people who knew the legend, you know? So, but in closing, like I want to say thanks again for being on her show. And if you guys want to get connected with her, obviously the links are on the screen. And if you want to connect with other experts and articles and blogs and information about training, join our Facebook group, Strong Women of Canada. And that's exclusive just to Canada and female strength athletes for all strength sports. And also Team Panda Strong, you can connect on that Facebook group, and that's mine. And that's where I post like, you know, fitness challenges, nutrition, and all kinds of positive, helpful stuff. And if you're a strength athlete and a personal trainer or fitness instructor, you can apply to our Elite Athlete Sponsorship Program and our Panda Strong family of ambassadors on our store today. Like I said, www.pandastrong.ca. And if you're twerking it out in the gym, and you want to drop it like it's hot, not too hot, ass to the grass like a proper powerlifter, but you don't want to burn your butthole or fall on your ass, you need to get onto our playlist with Spotify. It is Panda Strong Cardio and Panda Strong Strength. Make sure if you're listening in right now, you give a 5-star on Apple Podcasts. If you're on YouTube, like, share, comment, high five.